is the 4th of March 2026. What time is it in terms of the prophetic timeline? Let's read Matthew 24. And I'll read Matthew 24 from verse 3. Now, this is Jesus, as Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" So Jesus is going to answer the question, what will be the sign of his coming and of the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, "Take heed that no one deceives you." Deception is one of the signs of the end, and it's more prevalent in our time. Deception equates to the white horse in the book of Revelation. The white horse in the book of Revelation shows that the rider goes on conquering and conquering. He's got a bow but no arrow, which means he's conquering without force. He's conquering with a bow. It's like having a gun without a bullet. So that corresponds to deception. And Jesus answered and said to them, "Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many." The deception is in the Christian world, the people who believe that, or who preach, profess that Jesus is Lord. Those are the people where the deception is happening. It's not happening in the Islamic world. Yes, there is deception in all religions, but primarily it's happening in the Christian realm, in the Christian churches, in the Christian congregations. Okay. "For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many." So as you find the rider of the white horse is, in a sense, a form of an antichrist, who in his facet as a deceiver. He rides a white horse, and Jesus comes back riding a white horse. So he is an impersonator of Jesus Christ. It's an antichrist. The Greek word for anti has got two meanings. It means in place of or against, and is both. He claims to be the anointed one, he claims to be the Messiah, he claims to be the Christ, but he's also against what Jesus taught. Okay, so that is the first sign and corresponds to the rider of the white horse in the book of Revelation. Verse 6, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars." Okay, we have wars currently going on. We have Russia against Ukraine. We have Israel attacking their neighbors. And of course, we got the war against Israel and the USA attacking Iran. These are some of the wars. Wars and rumors of wars. We are at that stage right now of wars and rumors of wars. Okay. "See that you're not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So these wars that are occurring at this time do not mark the beginning of the end. They are just one of the signs that Jesus' coming is near, but it's not that they do not indicate the beginning of the end. 4, verse 7, "For nation will rise against nation." Now, in Greek, the nation against nation is actually ethnos against ethnos, which means there will be ethnic tension. One ethnic group will rise another ethnic group. There will be a rise in ethnic conflict. There will be a rise in racism. So that's what the Greek says. Okay. "And kingdom against kingdom." And again, this is underlined by the wars that are going on. The Iran war, where the USA and Israel are attacking Iran, Russia against Ukraine. Okay, that is kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. So what this means is, as a result of wars, that also creates famines. I'll give you an example. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz in the war between the United States and Israel and against Iran. That closure of the Strait of Hormuz will create uh, an economic crisis around the world, which will also create famines. And apart from oil, there's also goods that go through that strait, food that goes through that strait. Most of the countries in the Middle East, especially the Arab countries, they import their food. Up to 80% of their food they import. So that also creates a constraint in the supply of food, the supply chain. So that also creates famines, and that will occur in these last days. Pestilences, we have seen COVID. There are more pestilences coming, and earthquakes in various places. We usually concentrate on the bigger earthquakes, but most of the earthquakes are occurring. There are multiple earthquakes already. The increase in the number of earthquakes that occur around the earth has been staggering. So there are earthquakes that are slight, and they are not reported in the news, but there's been an increase in those. But even those that are above 6, 7, 8 in the Richter scale, the big earthquakes, those will also come to occur more frequently. All these, verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So we're at that time where we are experiencing the beginning of sorrows. We are not yet at the end. We are at that time where we are experiencing the beginning of sorrows. Okay. Now, verse 14 says, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. There is one last preaching of the gospel that will occur throughout the world. And this gospel will be preached by the two witnesses that are mentioned in the book of Revelation, chapter 11. These two witnesses who are prophets will prophesy for 3.5 years, and they will preach the gospel of the kingdom which Jesus preached. So in the book of Revelation, Jesus says, I will give power to my two witnesses. So the ministry of the two witnesses is the ministry of Jesus continued, because he did not finish his ministry when he was on earth. There are things he did not accomplish. For instance, he said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who stoned the prophets, how I wished I had, to gather you, as a hen, gathers its chicks under its wings. So there is that part which is not yet accomplished. And the two witnesses will come and preach the gospel of the kingdom, which Jesus preached. When Jesus was on earth, he preached the gospel of the kingdom. The two witnesses will also come and preach the gospel of the kingdom to all the world, and then the end will come. So the end is not yet. What we're seeing, the wars that we're seeing in Russia, does not mean the end. The end is yet to come. And there's still a 3.5 year period where the two witnesses will come and preach, where the two witnesses will come and spread the gospel all across the world. Okay, and we'll go into detail in another video as to how they will do that, but they will have an army of preachers of 144,000 people taken from the 12 tribes of Israel, the real Israel, not the state of Israel, the real Israel. Listen very carefully. The two witnesses are coming to regather the real Israel. Okay, I will teach this in another video. So that has not happened. we have the state of Israel, which is a counterfeit of the real Israel. The current state of Israel is the synagogue of Satan. It's not the biblical Israel. And we'll put that in another teaching. Okay. So after the preaching of the gospel, then the end will come. When does the end begin? The end begins in Revelation chapter 11. Let me quickly read there. Revelation chapter 11, from verse 7. Okay. When they finish their testimony, the two witnesses, when the two witnesses finish their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit will make war against them, overcome them, and kill them. That is the beginning of the end. When the beast that comes out of the earth rises up from the bottomless pit, that is when the end begins. Okay. So the beast will rise up and kill the two witnesses. Okay. The beast that rises from the bottomless pit will be part of the satanic worldwide kingdom that will be ruling the earth for 42 months, which equates to 3.5 years. And Jesus will come back and destroy that kingdom. So in the next video, we'll look at in more detail as to how these things will transpire. We'll get deeper and look at scriptures, the various scriptures, but that's a chronology. So in summary, the signs of the coming of Jesus start with deception, which has been happening for some time. There will also be wars and rumors of wars. Hence, we see Russia attacking Ukraine. We see Israel bombing their neighbors. And we see now the current war involving the USA and Israel on one side and Iran on the other side. So these are the beginning of sorrows, but the end is not yet. And then there's another stage which follows that the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness. And that is the ministry of the two witnesses who will prophesy for 3.5 years. And at the end of their testimony, at the end of their prophecies, a beast will rise from the bottomless pit, and that signals the beginning of the end. Therefore, the end is the beginning of the satanic kingdom that will rule the whole world, the universal rule of Satan, the beast system. That is Satan, is the satanic rule of Satan, and which is underlined by the rising of the beast from the bottomless pit. And after 3.5 years of that rule, Jesus will come back and establish his kingdom. That is the chronology. We'll unpack it in the next video. Thank you so much. God bless.